Hey, everybody. Welcome to my living room one more time. This is Maxine Taylor, and I have my July 2019 overview for the month of July for all 12 signs. After you've watched this, the rest of my videos on each of the signs will tell you exactly what is going to be going on in your solar chart. And let me suggest this to you. July is a big month. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. I am offering a special. Again, everybody loves the specials. It's called the Summer Eclipse Special. It's a little different than I normally do. It is from now, the very beginning of July, until the end of 2019. Actually, it includes one eclipse in 2020. So it includes 4 eclipses, 2 Mercury retrogrades. I've included all the full moons between now and the end of the year because on the full moon, that's when everything pops. That's when everything comes to a head. Now, I'm also including all of the major transits. For information, it's on my website, MaxineTaylor.com. Some of you, new topic, some of you have taken advantage of my offer of a printout, free of charge, of your personal, beautiful birth chart. That is still available to you. All I need is your birth data. And there is a form you can fill out on my website, MaxineTaylor.com. This does not include an interpretation. If you need help with an interpretation, I'm going to recommend my book. Now that I've cast it, what do I do with it? It's on Amazon.com. It will help bring out the astrologer within you. Very easy to understand, and it will propel you forward, or it can. Okay. Now, another freebie, my free full moon ceremony at the Phoenix and Dragon here in Atlanta is on July 16th. Those of you living in Atlanta, of course, you are welcome because this full moon is an eclipse. We're going to be packed. Normally, I get somewhere between 40 and 45 people at my full moon ceremonies. It's usually double that when we have an eclipse. Yeah, I am very busy at the full moon ceremony on an eclipse. Everyone is invited. No charge. Now, if you don't live in Atlanta and you want to attend, you can attend virtually by simply converting your time zone to 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So many of you have told me that just by dropping down, moving into your heart, just put your hand on your heart, it'll move you right into your heart. Keep focused on it. By doing that, you have been able to feel the energy from the group, which is always totally loving, totally positive, and lives have been changed by virtue of the beautiful people in attendance. So, you are invited. Okay, now let's talk about what all is going on celestially. First of all, the sun, the center of our solar system, our ego, the giver of life, is insensitive, psychic, Cancer until the 22nd, when it moves into great, grand, glorious, dramatic. Life is a game. Let's just play it. Leo. Okay? And you feel it when many of you do. If you're empaths, of course, you feel it because the energy changes. Some people don't feel it, and that is okay. The results are what we're looking for. Now, many of you know that Mercury, our dear friend Mercury, goes retrograde on the 7th, between the 7th and the 8th. And before I talk about that, I want to mention, if you have not watched my video, my latest video on YouTube, Mercury Retrograde, the prequel and the sequel, In this video, I explain the shadow of the retrograde Mercury, which occurs 2 weeks before it goes retrograde to 2 weeks afterwards, approximately. And many of you have said to me, you know, I feel like Mercury's still retrograde, and I know it's not. That's because we're in the shadow of the retrograde. So you want to be aware of this. When Mercury is retrograde, you are not going to start a new project. Now, in the shadow, it's a little different, okay? Because Mercury is not officially retrograde during that time. However, we feel it. During a retrograde Mercury, and I'm talking about the time when it is officially retrograde, as well as, yes, when it is in the prequel and the sequel. You're not going to start a new project because it either fizzles out completely or has to be redone within the year. So what you're going to do is tie up the loose ends of unfinished projects, any unfinished project, all right? And I have, because I was even more of a rebel when I was younger, I have challenged this. And I found out I can thumb my nose at it. I can pretend it doesn't exist, but it does. So my suggestion is follow the celestial rules. They will pay you back. All right. So Mercury's retrograde. It starts off in Leo, and on the 18th, it backs up into Cancer. It is officially retrograde between the 7th and the 8th, and it goes direct, meaning it comes out of retrograde, July 31st to August 1st. Lots going on. Venus, love, money, beauty, everything that's good and happy. It starts off in Gemini, but on the 3rd, it leaves talkative, curious Gemini and moves into Cancer, where it joins the sun. Okay? On the 27th, it moves into great, grand, glorious Leo. And so while Venus is in Gemini, this is a time when we want to talk, we want to communicate, we want to travel. Now, remember, Mercury's retrograde, so everything is kind of perfluy. When it moves into Cancer, we're thinking of home and family. And this, of course, is July 3rd when it officially moves in. And this is a time for cookouts and family events. By the 27th, when it moves into Leo, it is time for fun, for enjoyment, for sports, for anything that you consider to be fun. And remember that the sun will have already moved into Leo on the 22nd, opening the door for fun, fun, fun. Now, Mars has been in Cancer, and it will stay in Cancer for one day, July 1st. After that, Mars, which is action, energy, passion, it's what you fight with and fight war. It's what comes first to you. When it moves into great, grand, glorious Leo, it's time for drama, for fun, for enjoyment and passion. So let me give you a little rundown of what to expect. The first eclipse is on July 2nd. Remember, we are already in the shadow of this retrograde Mercury. Today is June 29th. We've been in it, okay? It is in 10 Cancer, 10 Cancer 38. Find 10 Cancer 38 in your birth chart, because that is where the energy really starts moving forward. It's a double whammy on an eclipse, because even as I'm sitting here recording this video, I'm aware of the energy, okay? The second eclipse is on the full moon on the 16th of July. And of course, that's when I'm having my full moon ceremony, naturally. It is in 24 Capricorn. Now, You know, the South Node and Pluto and Saturn were all together right in that 23, 24 degree placement. This is still a very significant point because Saturn is going to move into 24 of Capricorn in 2020, and Pluto is going to do so in 2020 as well, probably at the end of 2019, but approaching it. So this is a very sensitive point. It is a full moon, and that's when things come to a head. You are going to want to know where this falls in your birth chart. Some of you already do because you're students of astrology. And some of you, by the way, I've got to compliment you. Some of you are really knowledgeable. I can tell because of the things that you post on my YouTube channel. I can tell because of the questions you ask on my YouTube channel that you really know what you're asking. And so I have to acknowledge you. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but I am validating you. And sometimes it's terrific just to be validated and know that you're right. Okay. So we've got that July 16th eclipse in 24 of Capricorn. Now, if either of these eclipses happens to fall on your sun, your moon, or your ascendant, and I'm going to extend this to the chart ruler as well. This is a new life eclipse for you. It's a major eclipse. It's a wonderful time to begin new projects. This is why I'm suggesting, for those of you who don't do your own chart, who don't know how perhaps, that you take advantage of the specials that I offer so I can explain all of this to you. So this is a very important time. And of course, Mercury, again, retrograde till the 31st of July, August 1st. Now, on the 31st, we have a new moon. The solar eclipse on July 2nd is a new moon. This new moon on July 31st is not an eclipse, but it is then the beginning of new energy. It's in 8 Leo 37. This is very, very interesting. So here is some FYI information for you. On July 8th, and you'll feel this on the 7th, Mercury, of course, goes retrograde in 4 degrees of Leo. Mars, the planet of action and energy and war and passion, what you fight with and fight for, is also in 4 degrees of Leo on the 7th and 8th when Mercury goes retrograde. You find this in your chart because when Mars, which says, I got to do it now, sits on Mercury that says, I want to express myself, I always suggest that you not go toe-to-toe with anybody. You avoid arguments right around the time that Mercury goes retrograde because you'll say things that you might later regret. This is a double whammy on that. This can produce anger, and you might speak in a manner that you wish you hadn't. Okay? Once you've said it, you cannot unsay it. But you can make it better, okay? July 21st, Mercury is retrograde, of course. Mercury is exactly conjunct the sun. The sun is the giver of life. Whenever you look at somebody's chart, their birth chart, if their sun is within just a few degrees of Mercury, it's very hard for that person to get away from themselves. The sun, the ego, is very much connected to the mind. And this person finds it hard very often to be objective because they are so involved with their own ego. And I don't mean that as a criticism, because this is the lifetime in which they decided to do that. Maybe in a past life, they were totally involved with other people and gave and gave and gave, and now it's their turn. So I'm just saying. And then on July 31st, Mercury goes direct. Yes. And we have a new moon. So there's amplified energy on the 31st. And since Mercury will be in the shadow of the retrograde until August 15th, we may still be confused and unsettled and all that kind of stuff. So I hope this is helpful for you. One of the things that I'm able to do is simplify things, make them easy to understand. So I'm hoping that I've been able to do that for you. And my blessing is that the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.